So when I got into excavation, I had no experience. I just went to Sunbelt Rentals, rented an excavator. There was two levers, one left, one right. Next thing you know, I'm halfway down the trailer, and the truck's going down the road because it was unbalanced. But you got to do what you got to do, and I look awkward, but that's what life is. You take a chance, you learn, and it may be embarrassing, but you keep going. And next, 2 weeks later, I can run this machine, and I'm like, wow, I can charge $150 an hour.
All right, welcome to Mixed Realities. Today's guest, we have DJ stopping by for conversation. He's an entrepreneur, an investor, a mentor, and the founder of Preferred Builders in Florida. We'll cover everything from real estate to building to markets to mentorship, family, faith, and even controversial policies shaping business as we know it today. Thank you for stopping by, DJ.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of want to just jump right into it. The question that we always ask anybody that comes and interviews on this podcast, it is, who are you? Meaning, outside of being a builder, we know you're a builder, you're an entrepreneur. Would you describe yourself as an entrepreneur, investor, man of faith, mentor? Better.
I like to think of myself as a husband and father first.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a man of faith. I have very strong values. Mentorship is very important at this stage of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've made some money early on, and now I'm more purpose-driven.
So more purpose-driven.
Yeah.
Where did your journey start? How did you end up here in the position that you're in today?
I guess I got to start, I was 21 years old, I believe, and I started a company called Preferred Landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
And that was started because I found out I had a daughter on the way.
Mm.
And at that point in time, I worked at the mall at the Gap, and I knew that wouldn't pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't sustain, rent. So I took a chance and I started the company, and that was a big risk. But at 21, you can take that risk.
Mm-hmm, right. I mean, you have time.
Yeah.
So what was the company that you ended up starting? What was the first company you went with?
Okay. So it's Preferred Landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what I did is I put an ad in the paper, said landscaper experience, $25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just doing that just to make some money.
Mm.
But, it took off. I would do a good job and my name would get spread. And I thought, well, maybe I can do something with this.
Mm.
So, I just started mowing lawns, and just to think about what I did, I'd push mow an acre or two with a push mower.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's all I had was my brute strength.
And how long would it take you actually to do that? Like, I'm imagining an acre. Now, you were in New York when you first did this,
Yes,
right?
Western New York.
So I'm assuming an acre is an acre wherever you go.
Yeah.
How long would that take you basically with a push mower to be mowing an acre or two for your clients?
It seems like a long time ago. I got to say maybe 35 minutes.
35 minutes.
And that's a guess. This is going back a long time. and I do multiples in a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So at what point did you go out and think, hey, I need to hire somebody? I know you said your name started spreading out. At what point did you say, okay, well, now I need to go find somebody to help me do this because it's becoming too much for me to do alone?
I mean, you only go so far in your brute strength. So
Mhm.
I hired another person around 17, 18, and they'd push mow with me. And, I'd get 20 lawns, 40 lawns, 50 lawns. It's all
Mhm.
residential. But you can't make a lot of money doing residential work. So I branched off into commercial.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, I was like, well, you only can make so much mowing lawns.
Mm.
So at that step, I got into excavation, patios, pavers, retaining walls, water features, pretty much everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that just pretty much took off from there then. Okay, well, so from the time that you were mowing the grass, what was it like, I guess, making the switch? Like, what sparked it to say, okay, well, we need to go into a different line of business outside of making more money.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? Okay, well, we need to go out and expand. How did you know you were at that point already to be able to do that?
I don't think it was a point of expanding. It was a point of generating more revenue, having a higher ROI on your services.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I got into excavation, I had no experience. I just went to Sunbelt Rentals, rented an excavator. There was two levers,
Mhm.
one left, one right. Next thing you know, I'm halfway down the trailer, and the truck's going down the road
Oh my
because it was unbalanced. But you got to do what you got to do, and I look awkward, but that's what life is. You take a chance, you learn,
Mhm.
and it may be embarrassing, but you keep going. And next 2 weeks later, I can run this machine, and I'm like, wow, I can charge $150 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
So
As the work improves, you get to charge more money.
Yep.
So I always say, like, the difference between, for example, someone as yourself who took the risk of starting a business, being broke, probably making tons and tons of sacrifices, and somebody who just, decided to go into the workforce is just, a risk. That's like the only difference between somebody who's an entrepreneur versus one who isn't. Is just you're willing to take some risk and accept the consequences of that risk before it's even made. So I guess throughout that time, then what was it exactly? I know you said you had a daughter. Was that the only thing that pretty much sparked your entrepreneurship? It's like, okay, well, I'm having a daughter. Why didn't you think about going to get a different job versus starting a business?
Well, you mentioned risk. So to me, it's risky to have a job.
Mm-hmm.
You could work for a certain corporation. Again, it all comes on leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Some people take care of their staff, but big corporations don't. You're just a number.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point in time, I'm from a town called Core, New York. In 2000, their stock went from $300 to $2, and I saw a lot of layoffs. I said, I'm never going to put my destiny in somebody else's hands. So having a daughter pushed me along, but also I was like, well, I can't make much money with my skill set in retail, or you gotta start your own business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I mean, stories are always kind of similar, man. It's just like usually that's somewhere along the lines of like, man, I want to take destiny into my own hands, and I don't want to limit my earning potential. Okay, so with that being said, then I mean, at that point, what was like the hardest part of entrepreneurship for you, and how did you handle the pressure when it hit the hardest? Because I can't imagine. I mean, I've started actually multiple businesses, and I learned early on that it takes patience. Wealth doesn't come fast. I've started many projects that didn't work in like 3-4 months, and I just stopped doing it. So what was the hardest part? I'm sure there's been parts where it's tested you and you're resolved to do whatever you were doing. So like, can you explain like what some of the hardest parts of the entrepreneurship journey for you, and how'd you handle the pressure?
So the hardest part is when you launch and you start doing, more stuff on your own as a business owner. Like, it's not always consistent. So the hardest part is like paying your bills, right? I mean, for me, just I didn't know, like, cut my change, make sure I had enough to put gas in the truck to work that day. But as you grow, your income becomes a little more stable. So the hardest part was, worrying about my rent being late, worrying about taking care of my daughter. Because as a man, you want to provide, right?
Yeah.
And at 21, 22 years old, I had a very strong sense of providing for my family. So that pushed me even harder.
Okay, well, that kind of gave me a little bit of insights. Like, so being that you said that at 21, that's a young age. I can't imagine too many 21-year-olds that I've ever met that said, oh, well, I feel like a duty and it's my obligation to take care of my family. Most 21-year-olds I know are going to college and want to party and drink and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So can you give us a little bit of your history? Like, what was your childhood like? Because I'm sure something led up to you feeling like this. So what was like your childhood journey that led you up to this point of like wanting to go into business and go that route of providing?
Overall, I had a pretty good childhood. I had great grandparents, good parents overall. But, like, I was always overlooked. I had step parents who told me I'd never make anything of myself. I always felt like I was never good enough. And I think that's very common no matter what stage you are sometimes, right? Yeah. And, I think confidence goes a long way. So when you're young, you always have that confidence.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's been multiple times that when I was growing up, my childhood was definitely not a good one, which is what led me to wanting to have a family so early and build like I wanted to build now. It's just like, well, I know the opportunities are out there regardless of what you're going to face. Everybody's battles are different. Hard, but different. So I just felt the need to like, well, create what I didn't have and then do what wasn't done for me. So that being said, I'm sure you know plenty of other guys that you probably looked up to or modeled yourself or at least followed because of some of the successes that they have. Could you name like 3 entrepreneurs you never bet against and why?
Yeah. This is always a controversial name, but Donald Trump. I mean, this guy has faced nothing but adversity. I don't know if you know much about New York City, but if you go back in the 1980s, New York City, you deal with the mob, the political environment, nothing can get done. And he found a way to, build the skating rink, develop land that was not even usable at the time. He just created things, that's what entrepreneurs do. I would never bet against him. Obviously, he won for president, whoever thought that. And he said that back in the 80s.
I've seen clips of that.
I mean, he just seems to always win. I would never bet against him. Elon Musk, what a personality. But this guy, he can go to the moon and drill down to the core of the earth. He can, I don't know what he's involved. He's in everything. I mean, the guy's knowledge is amazing. So I mean, how do you bet against somebody who has almost gone bankrupt that many times? Like, how many times has he taken his money and risked it and almost went bankrupt? A lot of times.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The third one, I'd have to say Jeff Bezos. I remember when Amazon sold books, and I would look at that and like, what kind of companies sell books online? But he was creating that foundation, right, to sell all these other products. So he was overlooked.
And I mean, who would have thought though, man? I mean, I've seen photos of what Amazon used to look like starting out in his garage, was it, that he was in? And I'm like, there's no way outside of him having the faith and the will to keep going forward that he would have thought that business probably would have ended up having him where he's at today, probably like the second richest person in the world.
It's crazy.
And he goes kind of back and forth. I think Elon's pretty much like has a huge gap now, but like it was between him and Elon back and forth for years. And like to where it's at now. And I think that's where the faith aspect of going like comes into entrepreneur when you're an entrepreneur is like, well, you're going out, stepping out on a limb. You're looking to make money because you have kids and a family, but what's the guarantee that you would have ended up here? You just figured, hey, I'm going to work and put my best foot forward every day and hopefully things work out for you. And I think that's the space people tend to run away from. And I actually did that for a while. Like I always had the business spirit in me. Like I've always wanted to do business and do my own thing. I don't like working for people because like you said, I want to have my destiny in my own hand because generally I can only be mad at myself for not making it to where I want to make it to when I do that versus putting my future in other people's hands. I mean, now you're just going to be mad at the world outside, so I just always like, I worked in insurance for 10 years, DJ. And that was because when I was in high school, I was homeless and I didn't want to go into adulthood being homeless. Now I think I wanted to create a business in insurance at one point, but I was working on a W-2. It was giving me the consistent money. And basically, I didn't have much needs when I was doing that. But I got to a point, which is leading up to my next question, is like, I got to a point where even though I wasn't needing for anything, I pretty much could get pretty much what I wanted. I couldn't go buy a Lamborghini or nothing, but I had anything that you could want that's like reasonable. But I still felt empty and without, depressed, anxious. And I had what I've been asking for God for the longest time. I had kids. I had a wife that loved me. And I was doing things so early. I bought my first house at 23. And I remember the day that we signed to purchase the house, we left the title company, and I'm like, man, like what's next after this?
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people work their whole lives to just be able to buy a house and then, well, what's next? Because I know this can't be it. We did this, I'm 23. There's a lot of life left to live. What is my purpose after that? And I then begin to feel purposeless.
Yeah.
So how did you ever experience a time like that where you were like, doing something? I mean, you jumped in pretty early, but you were doing something that wasn't aligned with what your destiny and your purpose was?
Yeah, I mean, I got to go back even farther. I mean, this is something probably nobody ever knows about me. When I was born, I actually didn't breathe for 8 minutes. And the doctor left me on the table, and I had a nurse that she felt in her heart she had to keep working on me. And I ended up breathing, and she wrote an article about me, and it was published. And, we kind of felt, I never really met her after that, met her one time. And I had one of my employees was working in my house. He says, hey, I got a customer of mine back from New York. I got to do work for.
Yeah.
I go, oh, really? Okay. And he said her name. You go, do you know her? I said, of course I know her. She saved my life. What's the chances of her saving my life and being this close to me, right? So like starting out that way and then launching my company, again, no one knows this about me, that I lived in my grandparents' basement until I was 28. So from 21 to 28, I was hand to mouth, right? So I think the way you came up and the adversities I met, that's our strength, right? We came, we fought, we scrapped. We didn't come for money. So we know that if we are stressed out and things don't work out, that we can do it again.
Yeah.
Basically, right? But I think why you're worried, by the way, is because you're always looking toward the future. And I think it's just sometimes age. You got to look at the present. You got a beautiful family, a beautiful home. You have everything you have. But why are we always worried about the future and retirement and money? We're always looking forward, but not enjoying where we're at.
Right.
That's part of the process. Because when I sold one of my companies, I was ready to leave. And after I sold it, I'm like, wow, I actually love that company. It was that whole process and everything I did. I didn't enjoy it. Time goes quick.
Yeah, and you hear that a lot, man. It's like enjoying the journey.
Yes.
But and I had to get to a point where I like realized all of this. Like the things that you pray for, being a man of faith, I pray all the time. Like it was at one point where I couldn't even imagine where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, I've wanted a family since I was 10 years old. And then somehow it flew by without me even noticing. Like, hey, man, God's blessed me with everything I've been asking. Now, all these things are now new to me. Because this isn't what I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted to be able to create a family and be able to sustain and do right by them. And I blinked my eyes and it was here and I had what I was looking for. And I'm like, wow. So if God's given me that and it didn't come easy, I had a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't going to make it, but somehow I made it through it. I feel like that's a thing with the people that are willing to take the risk. A lot of them have stories like yours, mine, and you're just like, well, I've already survived the worst. I think I can do it again. So like, why not take the risk? I mean, the possibilities of what you have to gain is far better than like hitting the rock bottom because you're kind of already there.
Well, I'll tell you what. In order to get what you want, you have to give up something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And sometimes we don't know why we're stuck where we're at, but sometimes I believe that God keeps us in a season until we have the skill sets.
Right.
Or sometimes maybe people will come to our lives to might change our trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I guess now that I look at things is if things aren't going my way, I'm like, okay, trust the process, praying God, it will come when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a lot of stress off me.
Yeah.
And we get one life. You get one shot at this, right?
Yeah, you got
I don't want any regret at the end saying, I wish I could have done this or that.
Yeah, and as you say that, right, and I had to work past this. So now that you say regret, so I'm assuming you don't have any regrets since doing this? Or do you still have some regrets?
You know, it's funny
because like you could have done something else.
I mean, I've had a good life and a good journey.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I've regretted things at that moment. But when you always reflect on your journey, that shaped who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't go through the tribulations or struggle or go through adversity or wonder why things aren't going my way, I would not be the man I am today.
Right. Hey, we're going to take a short break from this interview to highlight our sponsor, the Germinal Group. They are a real estate team based out of Florida who primarily serves Manatee County, Sarasota County, Hillsborough County, and the greater Tampa Bay area. The company motto is where there's a will, there's a way. Meaning if you have the will, they have the way. For any of your real estate needs, I suggest you reach out to this team. As a matter of fact, check out the review. The work speaks for itself. Now let's get back to this interview. So I feel like everybody, well, if you're looking for growth, eventually you're going to have to face yourself and the issues that you have within yourself.
Well, you know who's holding you back? The man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. It is always you,
yes.
Right? And at the time, like when you're in your darkest season, it's really hard to see that until you hit some sort of breakthrough, which is why I think community and mentorship is so huge, which is what we're going to go into next. I know you are a big brother in the Big Brother program. Like, what does mentorship mean to you and who shaped that?
I think how it was shaped was I didn't have a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the hard way. And I like to say I've got a PhD in life because I've lost a lot of money along the way. And that just, I learned through error. So as I exited some businesses and I took 2 years off when I came to Florida, I wanted to figure out like the money, it was great, but what's my purpose? And I think it's very important when you start making some money or you have an opportunity to help somebody else along the way. So when I have my little brother, I look at him, I'm like, okay, how can I pour into you? How can I make you a man? How can I make you a leader? How can I make you love your mother? How can I make you love your family? What can I do to make you successful in life? And if I get him on a right journey, and he gets a great job, not only did I change his life, but what's his family going to look like? His kids going to look like? I hope he puts them on the right trajectory, right? Then the grandkids. I think it's generational. So it's very important.
I agree. And I think it's up to, ultimately it's always up to you when you're you and you're there to change whatever the cards that it is that you were dealt. You can't do anything about where you were born into, but you can change it. And there's a saying that's like, if you don't change, what's the saying? It's like, if you don't change something, then you're accepting it.
My quote is, what you don't change is what you accept.
There it goes. What you don't change, you accept it. So I highly agree with that. Obviously you can't help the cards that you're dealt, but if you sit in error or mistakes your whole life and just complain about everything, then ultimately you kind of chose to live that, because what doesn't work and you should try to change. And I think people don't like change.
Right. Well, let's talk about complaining.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are negative and all they do is complain.
Mhm.
And that's not good for your body. It's not good for your relationship. And first of all, do you want to work for somebody who's always complaining or blaming someone else?
No, I don't.
No, I mean, it's a bad leader. So you want to be around positive people. And the more you grow in your career, it's amazing how these people come in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people that you're spiritual with, people that have the same mindsets. Instead of like trying to do everything yourself, you'll find out in the long run that you'll make the most money when you collaborate.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
everything's just a team thing. Even
Yeah.
at being a real estate agent, I think you can only do so much by yourself. Really, from my experiences, you really only can handle about 3 to 4 deals at a time.
Yeah.
When you're by yourself, it's always about systems, and it has to be people in those systems. Whether you're the face of a corporation or a business, but there has to be some sort of people operating, which is again team. I love working with athletes and military people specifically because of that, because they're already familiar to that atmosphere.
Yeah.
So it's easier to then get somebody and work with them who's already like super based on teams and being a part of a team and collaborating for the greater purpose. So I mean, I know you said, I mean, you're from New York. So was it just the landscaping company you had that you had to sell? Because I could have sworn you just said you sold multiple businesses
Yeah.
when you moved down here. I'd like to ask, what were those businesses that you got into? Because obviously the landscaping was the first one that you did. What was the
Yeah.
second and third business that you were in?
So I did landscaping, then I got into snow plowing,
Mhm.
and they're both seasonal. And snow plowing is actually very lucrative. I had one of the largest snow plowing companies in Western New York. And I thought to myself, how do I keep my staff busy all year? So I got into house flipping.
Mm-hmm.
I bought investment properties, and then I decided to, Grant Cardone in 2017. He's
Mhm.
like, go big, think big. So I'm like, okay, so let me sell all my properties, raise cash. And I think it was 2019 by the time I liquidated everything I had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was ready to go. I was ready to make some moves.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the market slightly correcting. I did not see COVID coming. So when
Yeah, I
COVID
don't think
hit,
anybody did.
yeah, I just everything doubled in price. But with things that happen also come opportunities.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So what happened was I decided to make the move to Florida, and I had an opportunity to buy a marina, and it was brought to me in 2020 in January.
Mm-hmm.
And when COVID hit, I couldn't even get the deal done. Banks didn't want to talk to me, doing PPP loans, trying to keep business afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And we closed July 4th. And the way it works with the marinas is you get all your boat rent money in January. So we actually purchased that marina with no money down because
Mhm.
it came out of the slip rent, and the bank gave us a check back for 60 grand
60 grand.
at closing.
So you got paid to buy a marina.
I got paid to buy a marina.
That's crazy.
Yeah, timing,
Wow.
right? So
Yeah.
I thought that I lost out, but again, another opportunity presents itself.
Wow. So it's all about, again, I mean, we all go through ups and downs, right? But there
Yeah.
is always opportunity in everything. You just got to know how to find it and look for it.
Every market.
And I think the negative thing, right? When
Yeah.
you're negative and you're going from a standpoint, oh my gosh, this thing fell through, you're not in a space to recognize the opportunities. So what turned out to where you thought, oh my gosh, well, nobody's willing to give me the financing, somehow you ended up getting paid $60,000 to buy a property and I'm sure, like, so when you purchased a property, did you have to do any sort of renovations or turning around of the business? I'm not too sure how like marinas operate.
Yeah. So actually, when COVID hit, they were worried about marinas, they were worried about contractors, and guess who benefited the most? People, wanted to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd buy boats, they buy campers. So we went to, I think it was a 400 boat waiting list in a hurry. We actually went to the townships and we got approved for a 50 boat slip expansion.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, that was a partnership that didn't work out. And I decided to make an offer to my partner, and I left.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the domino that fell to get me to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you said two things that kind of resonated with me. One, partnerships. Because I've been in multiple of those, and a lot of them didn't work out for me. So, being that you're a successful businessman and you've done a lot in your life already, so if I were to ask you, how do I spot a good versus a good partner versus a bad partner? What are the traits and things that I should be looking for to be able to make a proper judgment as far as like who I go into business
Yeah.
with?
So I always like to ask somebody if we're going to do business together, how do you see this deal working? And I want them to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And when they give me how they see it working, I kind of see what their mentality is.
Mm-hmm.
Because in a partnership, you really want to make sure that you have your partner's needs ahead of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. Very important that you work together and you're on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have disagreements, but those disagreements are done in closed doors, not in public.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your job's not to make your partner look bad.
Right.
And everybody has a pattern. I mean, if people are late consistently, I trust you to be late.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dishonest, I trust you to be dishonest. So I can qualify someone pretty quick. And this goes right down to your relationships. How do you treat your mother? How do you treat your wife? Do you cheat on your wife? I mean, if you're going to cheat on your wife, you're probably going to cheat on me in business, right? Steal money and whatever. So, those are all things you got to look at.
I often think, and I'm pretty sure it's a fact that, well, let me go back. So when I look at a man, right, and I'm looking to see like their character and how they are as a person, because people can put up a front.
Yeah.
I think children, it's harder to convince kids to lie, and it's even harder to train them how to lie because they're innocent. So whenever I'm looking at a man and I'm looking at whether it's business or just friends, to becoming friends and you're developing a relationship with somebody, I'm going to always wait for the opportunity to see how they are with their families.
Yeah.
And see how their children are treating them, how their wife is treating them. And that tells me a whole lot about a person. And obviously a partnership is pretty much like a marriage, like a legal marriage.
Absolutely.
So if you're willing to do certain things to your family, your children, your wife, you who is not related to them is fair game. They'll probably do you worse. So I always look at that or at least wait for the opportunity to present itself. Because not everybody you're going to go into business with has families and stuff like that. But it's a good starting basis for me to like, okay, well, if I want to see your character, I need to look at your children. Because you could lie and you could also be excited. It might not even be lying. You could just be excited. Yeah. You're in something new. So you're going to put it on the front until you get to settle in, right? Just like when you met your wife or your girlfriend at the time, like everything's all good and gooey and all happy with at the first. And then it's really like as time settles down and you start getting comfortable, you get to see the flaws that are really in people. And that's the period of time that you need to wait for before, I would say, even getting married and also going into a partnership with somebody. If
there's other sides to it too. Like how usually if you partner with somebody, they have other businesses. Because I'm not going to partner with somebody who's never owned a business. You got to have experience under your belt. But a real good way to tell if they're going to be a good partner is how do they treat their staff? Right? If they belittle them, if they run them on their bus, if the owner doesn't take accountability, there's clues everywhere. Right?
Right. And there's always
so it's just like a partnership is like hiring somebody. Hire slow, fire fast. That partnership I was in. Now, he didn't disclose that those boat slips were approved to me. I knew. He didn't want to raise the boat rents. Why would that be? It goes up in value, right? He wanted everything for himself, and I tried everything to make it work. And I left millions of dollars on the table. Now, I made money. Don't get me wrong. But it's okay to lose money occasionally to go where you're supposed to be.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I know some people get caught like, I got this much into it. I'm not losing money. Well, you're losing time. Time is worth more than money.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the one thing we don't get back, right? I mean, you just said Elon Musk went bankrupt multiple times.
Yeah.
So he's lost a bunch of money, made a bunch of money, but every second that dwindles down away from you, you never get that back.
Yeah.
Which is why I try to be super respectful of people's time, because to me, the greatest gift I can give somebody as well is just my time, because I'm also super busy. I mean, I think the whole thing of like the rat race, if you want to call it, is like fighting to get your freedom, like the time freedom to be able to make whatever decision you want to make and not be on somebody else's time. Is like you're fighting to get the time back. So I always try to be super respectful of people's time. But in owning up to any failed relationships, there's always going to be blame on both sides.
Of course.
Same thing marriages, right? So it's like, I agree with you where you, I never thought about like, okay, well, if you're going to go into partnership, see how people treat their employees. I always do look at like, not even business partners, but people and how they treat like waiters and waitresses. That behavior of like putting people down is just something that's like unacceptable to me. I don't want to be friends with you or anything associated if you like are in the business for putting others down because of whatever successes or stuff that you have. You feel like you're above somebody else. So I agree. So going back to mentorship, right? So you have a little brother, you would call it,
Yeah.
that you're mentoring. So for young people that are, let's say, the same age as him,
Okay.
how do you think they should go about finding real mentorship? Because I know that's something I struggled really heavy with. I've had many, many mentors, but how do you go about finding the right mentor for you?
Yeah. I mean, if you're in business or trying to start a business, get into business groups
Mm-hmm.
and you try to find somebody who's doing what you're already doing.
Mm.
And I'd want to make sure that you don't make that person that you're trying to be your mentor, that you're trying to take something from them. Don't be transactional.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them how they can help you. And in a conversation, talk about them. Everybody wants to talk about themselves.
Right.
Where are
Yeah.
you from? How did you start your business? Be a good listener. Ask questions. And if you get an opportunity to work for free, do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd rather take, $100 a week for the first year to make $6,000 a week next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to give up their time.
Mm.
Right. They're like, I should get paid for everything I do. But time's the most valuable commodity, especially somebody who's going to take their time to mentor you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't give them much value monetarily, but maybe you can give them your time.
Right. Helping and bringing value to where they need it.
And not only that, but if someone is mentoring you and they're reaching out to you, answer their questions and respond.
Mm-hmm.
I know people get mentored, they don't respond back. And why would I match intensity?
Mm-hmm.
You answer my questions, I answer yours. Show up, I show up. It's reciprocal.
As you say that, I think that goes in line to maybe a little bit in a partnership as well, because I feel like a lot of times, right, I'm like a super hyper focused. Like I like to get focused.
Yeah.
It's crazy because me and my wife was talking about like the multitasking. I know women think they're like super great multitaskers, but I'm like, well, are you really multitasking? It was not until we read a book called The One Thing. It was written by Gary Keller, where he specifically said in the book, he's like, there's no such thing as multitasking.
Okay.
You're deviating your attention away from whatever you're doing at the time. And like now, the quality of it is not going to be as good if you were just focused on what you were doing.
Yeah.
Versus you like diversifying your attention to multiple different things. And then she's like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah, wow. She always gets on me because like, if I'm focused on editing or doing something or researching property, like she'll be talking to me and I'm like, yeah. And then I completely forget. I mean, I don't even know what she's saying. I'm like, you can't talk to me while I'm trying to work or do something. She's like, I can. Why can't you do what I can? I'm like, well, I'm not you. And you're not doing it either because you're just diversifying your attention to different things. So I think it's hilarious that you say that because when I was looking to hire agents, right? I'm a real estate agent and we own the Germinal group. In 2023, which was like one of the biggest years of my life as far as like growth and change, probably the hardest year I've ever faced in my life, but I've grown so much from it. We're at a point where we're trying to grow the business and grow the team. And we actually went out and hired friends to work as agents with us. And I don't like using the word like hire. It just feels weird. Yeah. I like to say more like partner because we're all just partnering with these people. We have common goals and your vision is big enough to where their vision can fit inside of what you're trying to do. I went out and worked with friends and people are attracted to how hard I work. So they're looking to supplement I would say the lack of like wanting to work as hard as I'm like putting the time and effort that I'm trying to put into something. And maybe because they're bringing, let's say, their time or maybe some capital, they're attracted to it. But I feel like when you're in a business, right, we're all in the same thing. We have different strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like we have to be have the same intensity for the goal that we're
But nothing's
towards.
50-50. If you go in a partnership thinking you can do the 50% of the same amount of work, you're going to be disappointed. Okay. Everybody has a different skill set. Like you talk about women and men and even like an owner and a manager. I think I'm more macro. I'm looking at the big picture, how to grow this company, what I can do strategically. How can I put these pieces together? Even my wife or some other people that I've worked with, they look at the small things, right? And that's very important because I'm not good at the small things. So I believe that automate and delegate, right? If you're not good at something, delegate it out. But if I'm good at delegating and I could bring in $1 million in revenue, but you're laser focused and only can make 50 grand,
yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's different skill sets and partnerships. And at capital, money trumps effort. Every deal is different. As long as you agree to it, you always get everything in writing and have a partnership. It's very simple. If I was to partner with somebody and we bought some real estate and they want out, simple. Let's go get an appraisal. We'll put it on the market. That's it. And if you want it, You can buy it.
Yeah.
And if we can't agree, then it goes to market.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
then
the way
you
it
just
goes.
split it based off of whatever you agree to, the percentage that
Yeah,
you
I mean,
agree
if
to,
we're at a stalemate, we just put it on the market.
Okay, well, I guess that whole thing was leading up to, what do you think about hiring and or working with friends and or family? And I'm not talking about the friends like,
Yeah.
because for me, if I meet you through business, so you network with people,
Okay.
I tend to get real close with the people I work with.
Yeah.
So I think starting out where I met you in business, but we became friends, but you still have that core sense of like, wait, hey, we're working here. So business is always going to be the priority of like what we're doing when we're in a business thing together.
Yeah.
What do you feel like about hiring friends and family to work with your company or
So,
partner with?
if you do that, you got to separate friends and business, right?
Mhm.
So when you have business, you have a business conversation. You don't bring your friendship into your business. Don't bring
Mhm.
your business into your friendship. So you got to separate that out. Sometimes you can make it work. Sometimes you can't. I've got family members who call me for advice all the time. You're like, come on, help me out. I'm your family. But you're taking all my time.
Yeah,
And I help you out every week.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
help.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't mind helping you when I can.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a tough one, especially if you hire family and then you might have a mother or a grandmother saying, so-and-so is not very happy. Well, yeah, this is business. This is family, grandma. Stay out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or no, this is the worst thing. This is the partnerships too. If you partner with somebody, I'm just talking about men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm partnering with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not partnering with your wife. Now,
Yeah.
unless she's in the partnership
Mhm.
and that's an agreement. But if we're doing business, I wouldn't expect your wife to be in my emails or your wife to interject and your wife to say how the business should be run.
Mm.
So partnership is between the partner,
Yeah.
right? Family shouldn't be sucked into
That
that.
sounded weird.
Huh?
I would think that would be what it is, right? Like,
You'll be surprised. Because
That's
I mean, some people, sometimes the man is more domineering, sometimes the female is more domineering. If it's depends, right?
Yeah. Well,
You give a female partner and the husband wants involved, and it's like, well, I'm not involved with you, I'm involved with her. We're partners.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, just thinking of just general concept. I mean, regardless of man or woman, if you're in business, this is what's nice about business. I think
Yeah.
like you have to be able to stand up for yourself. So, and that's just generally how I am like in real
Yeah.
life. It's like, well, I don't need nobody else fighting my battles for me. So like, I wouldn't expect somebody to go like message my partner and be talking to them
Yeah.
about business for me. It's
Yeah.
weird. Are you looking to build and or transform your home? Meet Preferred Builders. They specialize in custom homes, renovations, and outdoor living spaces. Now powered by AI and virtual reality for a more smarter and clearer build. They proudly serve Manatee County, Sarasota County, Charlotte counties, and guess what makes this company different? They actually pick up the phone. At Preferred Builders, you are not just a project, but you are a priority. Give them a call for a free quote and or just to ask any sort of questions. You will not be disappointed. Now let's get back to the interview. So I guess the next question I have for you, right? I know you're a man of faith. How does faith guide your approach to leadership, family, and the balance between men and women's roles?
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
So I got to go back to when I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I sold the marina and I was building my facility for a landscape company,
Mm-hmm.
I found out Caterpillar had owned land across the street and they bought my building, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then when I liquidated everything and I came down here, my phone never rang, which is weird for me. I ran 4 businesses.
Yeah.
But I realized I was very transactional.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized what's next? It's purpose, right? So when I took the 2 years off, that's when I leaned into my faith, right?
Mhm.
I had to I gave up my identity. I gave up all my income from scratch. No network, no nothing.
Mhm.
So I started questioning my ability, and that's when I got, more into the Bible and more praying.
Mhm.
My wife and I couldn't find a church together. And we moved here and we found, a church the first week. And then we found a second church 6 months later.
Mhm.
We got 2 churches,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, so faith's very important because whoever I hire, I want to disciple.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that, that I can help them find the Lord, just they're their family, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm associated with somebody, I will do anything for you,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
anything.
It's hard that you say that. So my second question would be like, I'm gonna give you my answer first. The question is, do you think business and personal can really stay truly separate? Because I don't think they can. Because ultimately, all that you've done has happened because of who you are and your personality.
Yeah.
So how do you really say that you can separate the two of them? Because it's you. You're the person building the entity. So do you think that that's a thing that could be done?
Well, let's say a manager that worked for you for 5 years and gave you nothing but loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel I'm responsible to make sure that he's got finances to take care of his family,
Mm-hmm.
but also he gave me 5 years of his life, 5 years of his time. And I've told my managers in the past, I said, if you ever need anything, ask me first.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I can do it, I'm doing it.
Mm.
Because again, leadership takes care of their team,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming you're more of a servant leader than anything then.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my goal.
Well, how did you get to a point? I'm sure, 2 years is a lot of time to reflect. I mean, you had time and you were able to take off the 2 years. Like, what got you there to realize that you were transactional? And then, because I know we've spoken a lot and you were like, well, I want to become better so that I treat my employees to the best of my abilities. Like, what got you there? Because a lot of people, like you say, majority of businesses that I've ever, the ones that I've worked for, the ones that I've partnered with, they're more super, like, based on how much are you generating? What can you do for me? They don't really care about me. And that's really what got me out of the insurance industry. It was just too focused on money and like transactions.
Yeah. So I think one thing that really opened my eyes is when I sold all those businesses and I moved here and took time off.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody called me. I made money for a lot of people and I thought I had a lot of friendships. No one called and checked on me. I was like, wow, I had one person call on me. And it's just, I opened my eyes. And I look back and said, okay, how was I? That was a little transactional. It was all about business. I didn't develop those relationships, and some I did.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I didn't want to do that the second time around because I think it's a journey in life. The business owner at 20 is selfish. It's all about you. Business owner at 30, you're making a transition. At 40, you realize money is only a piece of paper, and what's your purpose going forward, and what's your legacy. So you're more purpose driven.
And that's the thing. I think ultimately, well, just my opinion, I feel like you have to get to that point sooner or later to realize that the money is not everything. Because like I said, I had what I needed and pretty much what I wanted that was within reason. And I still felt empty and like I was living without a purpose.
Yeah.
And that's where I think my faith helped me out tremendously and even empowered me to, even though you don't know exactly where the journey is taking you, and there's sometimes decisions that you make, you don't know that, like how it's gonna, how you're gonna do this, how you're gonna come up with the capital to buy such and such and such, but you just go out on a limb and just go for it. I think the faith always has to be my like I would say that's my core in everything that I do, because it gives me a reason, and because I have faith that God will do what He says. I'm able to go out and step out confidently to do things. So obviously for me, I know it's not going to work like that for everybody else. Everybody has their different religious beliefs and stuff like that, but faith has a lot to do with where I'm at. And money, right? I know you've probably heard the saying, like, money is the root of all evil. What do you think about entrepreneurs that are just hustling for, like, just to make money? Like, if you ask me right now, hey, what is your reasoning? Matter of fact, I will ask you that. Like, what is your reasoning for wanting to build all these businesses and develop yourself so much? Because I mean,
I got to go back to the beginning. So when I started the business at 21 and I had a daughter on the way, my purpose was money. I couldn't pay my bills, right? We all have to make money. Right. And at a certain point in time, that's what it's about. You got to grow that business, and money fuels that company to grow. And as you get older and the business mature, that's when, you want to be more purpose driven with that and just make sure that, it's not all transactional. You want to make sure and change lives throughout the way.
I mean, I agree with that. I would say my purpose and for is like what I want to do. At first, it was the same. I just want to make as much money as I can because I wanted to take care of my family.
Well, can I go back a little bit?
Yeah.
So, I mean, money's important, but when I did move, I felt like unfulfilled. Right. And I thought to myself, I want to be like that fireman that runs in the building and saves somebody, to help somebody else, you know? And that's why I got into the Big Brother program, because it fulfills me to pour into somebody else. Okay. And even my staff now, I have more appreciation to pour into them, and I want to do even more for them. I mean, we're in the infancy of the company, but as we grow, I just want to offer more to them. It's just all about giving back, and what is your purpose? Because money doesn't go with you to heaven.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
You know what I mean? So if you can leave a legacy and make everybody's lives better along the way, that's the goal.
I agree. I mean, I feel like you haven't made the most of your life if you haven't done something to affect the next generation, not your children, but their children.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when you've truly done something special with your life, or done enough, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like when you can affect the next generation, or whatever you would say it. Okay, so I know you're an entrepreneur, right? You own a company that does building and builds homes and renovates, but I know you're also into real estate. So interest rates, right, are hovering around like really anywhere from mid sixes to low sevens. How do higher rates and tight credit affect your projects and clients? Like, I'm sure, are you
Okay.
feeling the effects of the rates being high, basically?
Slightly. So most of our clients are high net worth,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also an advantage to when houses aren't trading, you fix up the house you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And also there's a lock-in effect of low rates. People can't afford to move, so they're going to update the home they're in. Where it does affect us is if you need the money and you can't pull the equity out because you're getting what 7, 8, 9% depending on your credit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so much equity trapped in these homes bought, before 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very interesting environment we're in. These are low rates. I bought my first house in 2007, 6.75. I'm ecstatic. Right. So you go from 20, 17 to March of 22 when rates were low. That's not the norm going forward. And if that is the norm going forward, that means houses are going to go higher, more unaffordable for the first time home buyer. Because right now, 5.6 years of the median income is what it takes to buy the average house in Florida. Now we're pulling it from Tallahassee all the way to Miami, but when rates are lower and the home prices are lower, we'll go back to 2019. It was 2 years. So affordability is an issue, and the middle class balance sheet's busted. So this is the question: rates can go down, but how is income going up? You want to pay $25 for a cup of coffee?
No, I don't. That'd be crazy. Well, I think, obviously inflation has a lot to do with everything, but the market that we've been in for the past, let's just say, since 2019 to now, like we've seen what happened in COVID, like housing is really expensive. And the area that we focus in as a company, right? We focus on the 350,000 to about this, let's just say the 700,000 range, because we want to focus on helping people enter in becoming a homeowner. But that space is also turning a lot quicker, specifically in our areas that we focus in. They turn a lot quicker than your 700 to a million. We're like 750, 800,000 to like a couple millions of dollars. They sit a lot longer in the market. So we want to be a company that focus on actually selling real estate and providing the value of selling and not just listing it. Because I know there's a lot of brokerages. They love to have a bunch of like real estate on their books. Right. I'm like, but you're not moving, and you're doing a disservice to your clients by, for example, taking on a listing that's really worth 500,000, but you're putting it on the market for 700. Yeah, you're doing a disservice not only to the customers that you're serving, but also the market and the space that you're working in. It's damaging our industry. So ultimately, look at where we're at now. Like, things are now in a correction. We're in a buyer's market where we are. And pretty much, I would say, pretty much majority of the country. You still have those areas that are still kind of hot. But what do you think about, like, as a real estate agent, right, that is servicing people, the ones that are taking, like, for example, listings just to take listings? They don't, like, focus on, like, developing a business and doing it the right ways. Because, everybody wants to make money. Ultimately, we're a business. We have to be profitable. But what do you think about, like, the agents that are taking things like bringing car sales approach to the real estate side?
So again, it's a disservice. Okay. So are you listing or are you selling? Okay. So most resales are listing and not selling because the price is not right. So you would educate your client. You would tell them what the market value is. And again, the comps could go down next week. What would your neighbor sell for? And you're going to have another agent who wants to tell the owner what they want to hear. And everybody wants more money. And they'll list it, I'm making numbers up, 800. Then it's 775, then it's 750, and then they get fired. Then the next agent, then 720, and you come in and you just sold for 6.25.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's crazy. We get a lot of that type of business because we focus on, like, when we're talking to people, I'm like, hey, DJ, I want to sell your house for you. You're looking to sell your house. Now we're just using this for an example. Yeah. But, like, everybody gets their emotions so tied up in their house, specifically not investment, but their actual homes, that they think the value is really higher than it is, which really because there's majority of the homes that are bought, they're bought using loans.
Right.
So your home is valued based off of what's happening within a mile radius of your house. And so the neighbors that are selling, everybody's selling for a reason, whether it be upgrading, downsizing, whatever the case may be, that's affecting the value of your home. So there is a set of measurement of how you would value your home. Why is it that people aren't able to tell the sellers? Because we are, again, honest and transparent. I don't want to just take the house for, like, we spend money on taking people's listings. So, and also whatever we're putting out in the market, that's our brand. The house is ultimately is what we're putting out there, because the photography of the house, and it's our name attached. It's not our face. It's just the house and our name. So I am very careful about what business that we're taking. And for the longest time, I also got into this business, and I was like, well, I'm just going to take on every listing that I can, and started noticing, well, these listings are sitting. Now I'm losing money. I'm losing $2-3 grand per listing. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to sit down with him. Like, hey, your house is worth $500,000, not $700,000. And here's why it's worth this much money. When an appraiser comes in, this is what they're going to say. It's going to be the same thing. So you're either going to take the reduction now, and if you're lucky to get a buyer, you're going to take it then. So I know there's a lot of agents, and I would just call it just not doing their due diligence, because again, they just want business, and they're hoping that they're going to get some sort of lotto tickets out of these homes when it's not.
Some guy from New York is going to just write a check.
Right. So right now that we're being in a buyer's market and you're an investor, like, what would you tell people? Because I'm telling people, if you're looking to buy per investment, if you're looking to like get into investing in real estate, you should be wanting to get in the market right now. What would be your opinion on that?
It depends on what price point. So I'm not going to give your secrets away, but you're very strategic to work with buyers from 3 to 7. That's entry level, right? So you know those houses are trading. Okay. Those buyers are going to appreciate it. And then guess what's going to happen? Real estate will go up. We don't know when. It could be flatline for a while. But when they're move up buyers, they're going to say, hey, Julian got us in the home. He gives great service. And the transaction went quick. Okay. So strategically, you're going to go up to the next 700 to 1.2, because all your, first time home buyers are excited, right?
Yeah. Everybody.
So, the focus, those are the ones that are trading. So it's smart. You're focused on those. Now, the ones that are in the mid tier, 7 to 1.2, I don't know how an agent can list a resale more money than a new construction, right? I'm not talking about the same money. I'm talking about 200 grand more. Why would somebody want a house 15 years old that's be updated, probably not open concept, when they can get a lower rate and a brand new home for 200 grand less? Why would an agent do that? I mean, and you got your comps on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, you do have the comps. I mean, my response to that would kind of be like, well, 2 reasons. 1, they're just looking to get a listing.
Right.
Or 2, they don't really know how to do comps. Because that's actually a skill within itself, to be able to go out and like source comps through whatever MLS system that you're using in your area. I feel like people don't do the homework and don't put in the extra time. And this is where I feel like, as a real estate agent, if I was a buyer, I don't want to work with somebody who's doing this part-time. No shade to you or whoever's watching this. But I'd like to be working with people that are focused. Again, there goes to the multitasking thing. Focus on what they're doing and developing what they're doing. Because as a real estate agent, we're many, many hats, right? You're supposed to be a marketer. You're supposed to be an actual agent. You're supposed to know your market and know what's going on at all times. That means you're always going to have to be studying and knowing what's happening with the market. You don't just get these things inputting into your brain. So I feel like a lot of agents aren't doing that. And which is exactly why I say I wouldn't work with somebody who's not doing this full time, just because you're spending anywhere from like what, 300,000 to millions, not millions, but hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. And that's huge financial responsibilities that can bankrupt you. So you would think you were working with somebody that is just like, when you're going to work with a lawyer, you're not going to work with a lawyer that's doing it part-time, that's having, now your life is in their hands basically.
Yeah, I just thought about something. Wouldn't it be really cool if you can go through MLS and have a thing called the miss list, where like all these homes are overpriced, and see what agents do that, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, look what it's sold for. Now, because you overpriced it, you didn't even get market value, you got less. Because I mean, as an investor, I'm looking at days on market.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if I'm looking at 1 year on the market, I'm throwing a low ball offer in. Right? What's wrong with this property? Probably nothing. But there's a stigma that the longer it's on the market, there's something wrong with it or not desirable.
And I try to tell to tell my sellers the same thing. I'm like, look, man, you want to take this chance, you're going to overprice. And then the getting into the pitfall, right, is when you overprice your house. Now you're just dropping it increment by increment, chasing the market, which is you're almost guaranteed to never do it unless you sit down and actually do a huge price reduction to get in front of it. Because the same with what you're saying, I'm trying to take an investor mentality when I'm helping buyers. Like, look, we're gonna look at the days on market, and then we're gonna make an offer based off of that.
Yeah.
And I do comps on both sides.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a strategy to slightly underlist?
Underlist your property? Yeah, it is.
I mean, are you more apt to get multiple offers to accelerate a little bit over market rate?
See, but that's the thing, though.
Even though in a down market, if you're at an entry level home and you're 10 or 15 grand less, there's gonna be a flood of buyers, and you might just get. It may not even be the price, right? Maybe it's cash. Maybe it's they're putting more money down. It's just a stronger offer in general, right?
I think that is a smart strategy, and that's something I actually pitch to my sellers.
Yeah.
I always like to give multiple options. You know, you don't want to be a one-trick pony. But I think you have to really be, again, careful as far as like if you're gonna underlist, you don't want to set up yourself for failure. So you have to basically find that sweet spot to create the demand on the property, but then also not underbid the house itself.
I'm thinking more like location specific. End of a cul-de-sac, wide yard. Right?
Yeah,
more like that. I wouldn't do something stuck in the middle of the pack. Right?
I know. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we have a property under our belt right now, exactly what you just said, in a cul-de-sac, a large lot that we priced low, had multiple offers on it. We're in a buyer's market, keep in mind, and you have all this inventory in this market right now, and we were able to get 3 offers. And of course, you got to be smart when you're talking to these people. You don't want to give away your cars, but you also want to create the demand on it. We got 3 offers. They went under contract the first time. Buyer couldn't get financing. It came back on the market. We did the same thing. And then the same exact thing. We got 3 offers again and used the same thing to create more demand on the property. So I think it works if you know what you're doing. Yeah, and you definitely want to be property specific, but it works. But a lot of people are like, as soon as you tell them, hey, you want to list a property for less than it's worth, they pan. But what?
It's counterintuitive, right? I got to ask you a strategy that I used to use in New York when I sold properties. If I was renovating a property, a flip, I'd always get a pre-inspection. Hire an inspector to come in. I put that right on the table. Because a lot of times people try to renegotiate. Yeah. So do agents do that down here? It seems that they should.
They should.
Because I'd have a sign in the yard that says this home's pre-inspected. And if you want, and you can share it with the buyer. And if they want to get their own, fine.
But you already know what's
you already know what's wrong. It's even better because you can fix what's wrong.
Well, I tell you what, and I'm okay with sharing some of this stuff because when we go buy a home, right? Obviously, you always tell, specifically primary or investment, go get an inspection done. That way you know what you're walking into. Yeah. Or at least have some sort of idea. So when I get an inspection, I go out and nitpick it. So a lot of times, like we're dealing with like homes that are probably newer, a couple years old. It's gonna be hard to find a bunch of stuff, but the cosmetic stuff you get on the report, and I use some of that stuff to kind of shave more money. Every dollar to me makes a difference.
As an investor, the number one rule is get the deal. And Florida is very buyer friendly. I can get any deal under contract with a 7-day inspection. Yeah. That's and I can renegotiate or walk away. And I'm saying from an investor standpoint.
Yeah, a week is a lot of time to get stuff done, right? If you're on it, so that's typically what we're seeing, anywhere from 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, and as an agent, I'd say 3. These inspectors will come out in a day.
They will.
These are all negotiating tactics, but I'm just throwing my secrets out.
Yeah, I mean, see, I don't mind sharing the secret because a lot of stuff that you're saying takes effort, work, and people just are going to go do
I wish we could do a poll. You can ask your viewers. If you call 10 real estate agents, how many answer their phone?
That's actually hilarious.
I want to know. Put that in the comments.
I would actually love to know that too. If you guys can go ahead and run that test. Look, we're in Manatee and Sarasota County. Let's see how strong our area is. Call out the top 10 real estate agents and see if they answer their phone. And that's easily done on Google. Yep. Drop in the comment what your results were. I'm actually going to do that too, actually. Okay, well, moving on to the next question, right? So actually, this is a good question. So what's the best real estate deal you've ever done, and what made it a win beyond the numbers, obviously?
Best real estate I ever did. I think that marina was the best real estate to get paid.
Get paid to buy a property.
Well, I guess the second best deal would be when I was building my facility for my landscape construction company, but I also did dumpsters and excavation and everything else. And when Caterpillar flew down to look at my property, they asked me what I was going to do with all my equipment because I was trying to sell the business to somebody else. They couldn't get financing. and they said, send me your equipment list. So I did, and they offered me $100,000 more for my equipment that I was asking, and bought my building and equipment a package deal.
Oh.
So I could imagine trying to piece that equipment out one by one on Facebook or whatever. I would have got way less in value. They did me a favor, but also I had my price low because I wanted to sell. Again, don't be afraid. If you want to sell something, you don't have to get every nickel, right? Get what you need and move on, because I'd rather have the capital to put it somewhere else and I'll make more money than if I stick my money in a deal that I'm not willing to sell.
I think if you could translate the same thing to real estate, like when we go out and talk to somebody who's looking to sell their house, I ask them, what's your bottom dollar? Because you want to work based off of that. Because then anything outside of the bottom dollar is a plus. People are so hesitant to give that away, though. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to help you out. So you should release some of the information to me so we can come up with a good strategy on how we're going to sell your house. But they're like so hesitant on, I think everybody just want to make the money, want to maximize their money. And they're so hyper focused on that. They're not willing to broaden their horizon to where they end up losing so much more money. Everybody who's ever overlisted their property and let it sit there and have them to drop price. Again, when somebody like you comes out and see it, like, I'm happy to see that, because now I'm about to offer you something really incredibly low. And then hopefully if you do your job, the right real estate agent, you're supposed to call, really try to find out the why and the reason why they're selling the property and use that to your advantage. And most agents, they're going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you that. But most agents, they're going to tell you, yeah, they're selling because of this, and that reason. And they use it for your negotiation tactics, man. It's like, so the marina thing, that's crazy though, man.
I always ask, like, I try to get the listing agent to get the price twice. I know this is your list price, but what's the best price you can do? And some are dumb enough to say, well, he'll take $25,000 off. Well, great. We'll start there. Right?
Yeah, take that off.
It's just, having somebody that's a little seasoned goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so if you were 21 today, right, and you were getting into real estate, and you started your business at 21, so what would your strategy be now, and how would you go about financing it creatively? Because, if you were 21, you didn't have no money, basically.
Creatively. Okay, how would I finance I've done a lot of creative deals. So we'll talk about the market now, right? Interest rates are so high that you really can't make anything pencil out, right? So there's a lot of people that bought before 2020. So if you want to make a deal work, sometimes it's not the price, it's the terms. Maybe you want to hold paper for 5 years, right? Maybe you can give them a lower interest rate. Maybe I could pay off your mortgage and hold paper. Maybe you want to hold paper because you want to pay taxes that year. Maybe we do a balloon in year 2. So people get stuck in the price, but you don't realize that most deals transact on the terms. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as a buyer gets their price in the end and they're willing to wait a little bit, what's the difference?
I don't think there's real much of a difference, but I think it's just not wanting to wait. People are just too, I need now versus
then
like,
great, I'll give you a lower offer. Price or terms, right? Like I need a lower price.
And so certain sellers aren't willing, or just people in general, they're like, man, when you're doing a deal, it's not all about you. Like, you want to sell for whatever the reason may be, but like that person is not just worried about making you happy.
Right.
Like I like to do deals to where everybody walks away feeling like
a win-win.
Okay, win. I've won and they've won, so we're able to walk away happy. That's, to me, is like, boom. That's what I always try to strive for. Instead of like, oh, I want to be the one that comes out on top. I'm like, no, bro, we need to make sure we both are happy with this deal.
It's a good example. How does that work in a business relationship when one person always wins? You don't want to do business with them. Yeah,
right. Yeah, right? I wouldn't want to work with them. And then it's crazy how big the real estate industry is, but how small it is at the same time.
Right.
I feel like your reputation, like, there's no really running away from it, because, we all can see numbers. We can track the numbers and stuff. But I'm like, you better make sure you're doing good business and your face is good, because it follows you. Even though, yes, the industry is huge, but it's really not that huge. Because the same people typically stand to be doing businesses in the areas. It's like the same few people.
Well, it's one thing I'd like agents to do is be honest about the market. Don't say that just because rates are going to go down that houses will go up dramatically. But you got to know that if you want to buy a house, it's got to fit your budget, right? The price has got to work for you. And that transacts in any market. But I think a lot of agents have kind of tricked, I feel like they've tricked buyers. Like, buy the house and lower it next year. How do you know the rates are going down next year? Now, if you're going to wait 5 years, yes, that could happen. But even new construction, I'm watching some of these deals transact to where these buyers can barely get in the deal. And I'm thinking more of like when they go through the like D.R. Horton.
Yeah.
They have their internal mortgage broker. They'll give you a 2-1 buy down, so you have a lower rate. But they don't even count the taxes on the house when it gets assessed. You're getting on the land value. So then when it gets reassessed next year, like why is my payment up 1,000 or 1,200? So that's important. That's important to have an agent too, because instead of going directly to the builder, have an agent represent your best interest so you understand what your real costs are going to be. Right? He could be like, look, maybe you see the payment, maybe you don't, but educate them that they may be getting a loan and it's not reflecting the true costs of the reassessment. So an agent's very important. They'll get you an inspection. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, I would never use a builder direct.
I try to tell people this all the time, and I've made multiple video and content on that certain thing. Like, look, when you walk into a new development and you're looking to buy a house, those people work for the builder. They're not looking to look out for your best interest. And there's things that the typical average person, they're not going to know that's a thing. Like a real estate agent is supposed to know that. So just like I like to use this analogy. If you had some sort of, whether a criminal case or whatever it is, maybe now you have to go to court to defend yourself. Why would you go use the prosecutor as your defending attorney?
Right.
I'm like, that just sounds dumb. And a lot of this stuff correlates into the same thing. This is a serious industry. And I feel like a lot of people don't take it serious enough. And then people get in the world of hurt. For example, I've seen many times where people have gone in and bought a brand new home, and then they're just completely shocked when the taxes get reassessed, because you're paying on the first year on the land alone.
Yeah.
Because they can't make you pay legally. They can't assess the taxes for the second year. Right. They have to wait. But a lot of builders try to tell you that. But by the time you get out and you sign all those documents, a lot of people forget. And then next thing you know, their payments went up $1,000. I'm like, okay, well, see, this is why you should have had an agent. Well, I'm assuming a good one should know that, hey, the property taxes are really assessed in the second year of owning the home. Yeah. And usually if you're not making those extra payments in your escrow account, you're gonna be in for the rude awakening.
What about design center? Like, you could look at their contract, right, and see what design options they got. And if they're charging you $26,000 for a gas fireplace, they can be put in for 10.
Well, yeah.
Now the design center is double sometimes of what a contractor would charge. So think about that.
I always say second opinions.
And not only that, but if you pay more on your contract, that goes more in your taxes.
So right. So you're paying taxes on the extra money that you're being charged as well. Man, I mean, I think it's just important to make sure you have a good professional, and it is on you as the consumer.
Right. Buyer beware.
Yeah, to make sure that you like who you're going in business with and know who you're going in business with. Okay, so I know you've mentioned communication a lot, man, like as like being one of the most crucial skills. And I think just the same thing in life and whatever, it doesn't even matter what category, it's just important to be able to communicate. So what does great communication look like to you?
Explain what you want, right? Sometimes, like, you'll talk to somebody, they don't tell you what they want, and they get mad at you later. Even if something goes wrong, you want to communicate the problem. Don't hold it in and get mad later. Like, hey, maybe I put a kitchen in for you and I didn't notice the door was dented from shipping, right? But then you give me a bad review. Well, as a business owner, you never gave me a chance to rectify that or fix that, right? Communicate to me. Say, hey, door's broke. And I would honestly, I would fix anything. I mean, I'm client driven. Clients come first. We're the reason, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're the reason. I mean, any business that relies on selling anything, I mean, the customers are the one that makes you. So you got to prioritize taking care of them. And it's
cheaper to keep a customer than find a new one. I want you to repeat. Okay? So a client's going to get the best service because I'm hoping you refer me to a friend or do more business.
I agree. I mean, we're in a referral business for same thing as us too. It's like you want to make sure, again, you do right by people. And that way, if I do a good enough job for you, and it was so great, you for sure will go and talk to somebody about me, because everybody knows a real estate agent, but I feel like everybody doesn't know a good one. Everybody can go get their license and go pass a test, but are you going to do what it takes to be a good agent? And that takes time to learning the business, learning everything that happens. And it's a lot. It's a lot to do, man. At some point, hopefully you get to delegate some of the work that you have to do, because it is a lot. Like, you want to focus on real estate. Ultimately for me, like, though we have to market, yes, I sit down and talk to individuals. I like to provide value to people, but ultimately my core thing and my core job is real estate. Like, I have to know the business of real estate to be able to educate my clients on it.
Well, there's other things that people don't think about in a transaction. Like, you have to talk to the inspectors. You have to talk to sometimes the title company, their attorneys, or the mortgage lender. Like, there's a lot of extra services that people don't even think that you handle, right? Yeah. It's more than just listing. So,
no, I agree. It's a lot. You wear many different hats. And
communication, let me ask you this. If you meet a client and they're unreasonable with their list price, and they list with somebody else that doesn't sell. Did you ever reach back out to that person, say, I saw your listing was withdrawn. Was there something I could have done differently or whatever? Like try to like get that client back or like, or even that's a customer service, right? Because most agents, like if they go on a listing appointment, they don't get it, they disappear. But to me, if you follow through, even if you don't make the transaction, or maybe could you congratulate them on a transaction?
But listen, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not congratulating you on the transaction.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
I think it's I'm really competitive, so I definitely will call and ask. Let's say you listed it with an agent. I'm gonna call once I notice that you listed a property and it wasn't with me. I'll call and ask, hey, was there something I could have done better?
There you go. Yep.
Like, what made you choose this person than going with me? What was it? I'd like to get better. I mean, I hope you all the best of luck, right? But if you could give me some feedback, I'd really appreciate it. Yep. A lot of times they do though. They go out and like, well, this person a lot of times end up being they gave me a better commission rate. When I'm like, well, I'm not a discount. If I lose a deal over that, I'm perfectly fine with it. Because I would say maybe 5, 6 out of 10 times, I'm gonna then get that listing back. Yeah. Because you want to go with somebody that's gonna give you a discount, and why would you go with somebody, right, that can't even negotiate their own commission to then give them $500,000 to then negotiate on your behalf? They can't negotiate for themselves. What would you think they're gonna negotiate for you? Yeah. That's kind of what I like to tell people. But as far as like, I think it's like you have to, right? It's like a sport to me. Like being a real estate agent, there's so many different people that are after the same clients that I'm after. Like what makes me different? And that is one of the things that do make me different is that I'm going to call and ask. And, or I also do provide a service when I do beat out people, which is a good majority of the time. I'm more than happy to call the other agent and, hey, they didn't want to use you. Yeah. That brings me fulfillment. I like winning, and that's just a part of winning. I mean, and when I don't win, because you can't win them all, right? And if it's something that I could have gotten better at, I try to get the information and then I work on it. That's all I can do, right? Yeah, that's the best part about business is the market corrects, right? Like if you don't give a good service, you could be off that day, right? And have a good presentation. You didn't get the client. That's what I love about business. Yeah, yeah. And when you reflect to get better, that just shows you want to be the best. Yeah, I agree. I mean, just like, right, even or blame somebody else, right? Somebody else's fault why I didn't get the listing or whatever. Can't blame other people. Yeah. It's always a reason why it didn't happen. And I think connecting, right? Yeah. I think in business, people are gonna do business not necessarily with the best person, but who they like the most. Yeah. So if you don't connect well with your clients, you could be the smartest person in your field. I mean, that still doesn't guarantee you any business. And for the longest time, I thought that was, hey, well, if I know more than most people, then that should pretty much guarantee me a lot of work, but it doesn't. You still have to be able to go out there and connect with people the right way for you to still earn their business. Yeah. Okay. So do you, so you're in business and real estate and stuff. I know you see all of these like influencers on social media promoting this syndication and all this stuff. Like, what do you think about that? Do you think that's good for the industry to have so many different people like promoting stuff on social media, which a lot of the times is just not the truth? Yeah. Just to get the business. What's your take on that? I mean, with good, there comes bad, right? So what I do see is people who just regurgitate the same information and then they decide they want to do syndication and they'll find a deal and they'll take creative financing like hard money loans or bridge debt or just all these things that if the market doesn't stay stable or go up, they're going to be underwater, you know, and then I watch their investors lose money. Right. That's a hard thing to say. But the good thing is you got a lot of great information, right? You'll learn about how they do things. You'll learn there's courses out there. You know, I like Grant Cardone, you know, like I don't believe in everything he does, but I like how he builds his business around his family. I do too. I like his, you know, he's very driven. Do I agree that he says single family homes were a terrible investment in 2019 when they doubled and tripled because they wanted your money in his fund? I don't agree with that. I wouldn't personally put my money with somebody else to where I don't have control. Yeah, each their own. Yeah. You know, so. I mean, speaking on Grant Cardone, right? I mean, I know a lot of people. Actually, everybody I've ever spoken to, you're actually the first person I've ever spoken to that said, yeah, I like him. I have started seeing a lot more of his stuff, and ultimately, I don't know Grant personally, so I like to not take people for face value on what I see on social media, and I tell people this all the time. Like, social media is a business. You don't look at somebody on social media and think that they're an influencer and you're behind the 8 ball because you're not doing what they're doing. This is a business for them. That's why a lot of times you'll see like they're not really living the lifestyle they're promoting to you because they're trying to make the money off of social media. So, but from what I've seen right on the podcast and some of his books, I like the way that he's definitely built a business around his family. And to me, that's like the number one thing that's like important to me is like a man who prioritizes family before anything else.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, in 2017, when I learned about Grant Cardone, that's when I started selling my properties off to buy the bigger deals, the marinas, the restaurant, the other marina I bought, you know, to build that facility, and all the other deals I did was because I liquidated that money. Right. So I did take his advice. Now, when I look at Grant, I got to look at him as in a whole, like, you know, he came from, you know, he's a drug addict and things like that. And he was very transactional. He's still transactional. But like, I think about him, if he had kids in his 20s and 30s or 40s, he wouldn't be the father he is today. Right? Now that he's in his 60s, he's in a different place. And I think that comes in experience. And I look at that as myself in my 40s, you're 29. Like, when you're older, you change as a person. Right? There's no substitute for wisdom or knowledge. So that's why I think sometimes it's good to partner with somebody of different age groups or different skill sets, because I can see blind spots you're not going to see because I've lost money or I've run into getting sued when I'm trying to do an expansion by, you know, a township that doesn't want the expansion. So yeah, I mean, we're all in our different seasons and we all bring our own values.
I agree. And I think,
you know,
I completely agree 100%. I mean, experiences, that's why I think, all right, you go to college, right? But you really don't know anything until you've actually had on-job experience. That's why they require doctors and stuff to do residencies, even though they have all the knowledge. I think it's excellent to be able to partner with like people that's been there, done that. There's going to have to be value for value for me. Like, if I'm going to partner with you, there has to be something that I'm bringing to the table for you for me to feel like, okay, this is a real partnership. I'm providing some sort of value and you're providing value. But like the social media influencers, they are, again, it's a business. And I know in real estate, they pour a lot into like marketing on social media, marketing. What do you think about the basically the real estate agents that are just like marketing the homes but aren't actually doing the things? 'Cause marketing is a thing that you have to be good at, but the first thing is to be knowledgeable in actual real estate and doing the transaction. What do you think about that? Like,
well, I mean, I'm gonna go back to Grant Cardone. If they don't know you, they don't flow you. That's his quote, right? So you need attention. You could be the best agent in the world. If I don't know who you are, I'm not gonna hire you. Right?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, if you get my attention on a video, jumping off from the roof and landing on the sidewalk and pointing to this house, but I call you to answer your phone, you just lost credibility. If you don't text me back and say I'll call you later, give me some kind of communication. Yeah, you can be a great marketer all you want, but you're not a tactician. You're not gonna give good customer service. And I want to know, like, for example, I do a deal with you. I want to know if I'm a buyer, I can get out of the deal. What are you gonna do for me? Like, you're gonna make the inspection period 10 days, right? Give me more time. If I'm selling, are you gonna make the inspection period smaller? Right. So I believe what's lacking in the real estate industry for an agent is, I call them a tactician. They know that contract and they help the buyers do what the buyers need and help the sellers do what the sellers need. And they communicate and they follow through. That's, I mean, that's like rare.
It's crazy you say that, man. It's like, it sounds so simple, but it is rare. And that's why I prioritize like transparency. Yeah. You have to be transparent and honest. And I know like everybody is car salesman, right? Car sales is, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get this deal done.
Right.
But like at the time, like I focus more on, I want to get the deal done, but I would like to have a relationship with this person as things continue to progress, so that he looks at me to use me for real estate whenever he or she wants to do, wants any sort of anything, including real estate. And I just feel like all the marketing is fantastic. Obviously, I'm a huge marketer. I love marketing, but ultimately, like whatever you're marketing, right? I'm marketing real estate. I have to be good at real estate, because once I bring in a client, right? Like you said, I have to be able to execute on the actual business of what I'm promoting. Okay, so leading to that, then we talked about Grant Cardone, and I do like him, by the way, too. I like what he stands on. If you could build with any public figure, celebrity, athlete, or entrepreneur, who would it be, and what story would you want to tell?
If I could build with any public figure,
anybody
in business. Okay, so any celebrity. I'd have to really think about that, but the first name that comes to mind is Patrick Bet-David. Okay. So I've been following him for a long time, and what I really appreciate about him is he's very strategic. Okay. And he's got a book, Next 5 Moves.
Yeah.
Right. Choose your enemy wisely.
That's
I've read that one too, right?
Read, yeah.
So, and what I like about him is he exited on his insurance company, and I could see that he went from transactional to purpose driven.
Mm-hmm.
He's very purpose driven. So he's a big thinker, and I think he's more accessible than someone like Grant.
Mm-hmm.
I think Grant's too transactional. He probably looks a little more to himself than others.
Mm-hmm.
When I say that's just my opinion. This is from a 30-mile lens.
Right, yeah.
But I gotta say Patrick McDavid. Yeah,
I really like Pat too. I love the principles that he stands on as well. Big family man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, we talked about a lot this interview. So my next line of question is going to be involving like family, right?
All right.
Obviously, I've said I'm huge on family. That's what I lacked. So I've always wanted it, and now that I'm grateful to have what I have now. So how do you define and maintain like balance between family and business? I mean, you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
And mentorship. You're mentoring people. You're in business and ministry. You do a lot. So how do you balance all of that, man?
Okay. Experience. So again, time's worth more than money. When I started my business, it was all about money because I had to put on all the time. And I worked and wasn't around my family.
Mm-hmm.
So my 2 daughters, I didn't give them the best father they deserved. But I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
You know, the different part of my life. So now that I'm 47 and I have 2 boys, but I'm a different part of my life. I have a little bit more money. So now that I launched Preferred Builders, I built my business, just like Grant Cardone, around my family. Okay? So when I hire people, first of all, I treat it like a sports team. I pay, and I want the best talent. And if you want a raise, don't tell somebody in the company. Tell me. We'll have discussion first, right? And because essentially I'm paying them for their time. And when they give me more time, that's more time in my family.
Yeah.
Okay?
I agree. Fighting for the same thing, man.
Yeah.
Time. Okay, so what's the biggest decision? What's the biggest decision, business or personal, that you've made thus far, and how did it shape your life and company? I think you touched a little bit on that before.
Yeah.
Though.
I mean, it's very cliche, but it's who you marry. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's very simple. I mean, you know, I think there's almost like 5 phases of marriage. Okay. So I call it the startup phase. You're younger, you get married, and you're grinding, right? And then you have the kids. It's like the nurturing phase. Now the wife is more like spend time with you. They spend time with the kids. So it's a different stage of relationship, right? And then you go to the next phase. It's where you've made a little bit of money, and you know, you're traveling a little more. But then the kids leave. Now it's you and your wife. That's an interesting phase, right? And I think the last phase is, which is going to be different, is when you're in your 70s or 80s. That's even different.
It's crazy. 'Cause I'm 29, but that's one of the parts of my life that I'm actually really looking forward to. But right as you just described, my phase that I'm in is like, obviously I have young kids. My wife is spending more time with the kids, but I'm there and present with my children. But so I guess what is like, I mean, you said you've been through it. You were working when you first had your 2 daughters, and you were like putting a lot of time. Now you're at a different phase of your life. What's advice based on the stage that I told you that I'm in? What would be some advice that you would give me, knowing where I'm at, to the point where you're at right now, in between that point?
Yeah. Okay. One thing that comes to mind is I'd have an office in my house, and my kids would bang on the door and always want my attention, and I would take that phone call. And I'm trying to get better at this. I want to make sure that I can call them later and give my kids my time. Okay. Because that window with your children is so small. So I think about the utility of money. Like, what's the value of money? What do you use it for? And in what phases of your life do you use that money? Okay. So for me, the best utility of money is when your kids are young to when they're 18. You can get all those experiences of traveling and all the memories. They're not going to remember your money, but they're going to remember you traveling to, I'm making this up, Australia or the Caribbean or camping or fishing, right? So, I mean, that's so important.
Well, again, just like the first time that we sat, I met you, but when we first actually sat and did a 1-on-1, and you were telling me like how I was kind of frantic looking. Yeah. You were the second person that said that to me at that time, in which, again, that was in 2023. And that's like one of the most grateful periods of my life, that, and in the moment when I was in it, it was like I was living in hell. Yeah. But looking back and all the things that I've learned and transitioned from, and the people that I've been able to meet just in that period of time, like, I'm grateful for it, because it's helped me make a lot of adjustments, and it's made me to a point where I was able to receive criticism correctly. Yeah. I think I mean, that's great advice, but you're also, again, I've heard that from a couple of different people, the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely making moves to try to make that be a thing. But obviously, as a young entrepreneur, I know I have the energy right now to do these things. So I'm like trying to figure out the balance of like,
That's
okay,
important.
I want to attack, I want to be on top of it, but I want to also prioritize my children because the memories, I mean, from the time that I had my first son, to where I was able to just kind of hold him in one hand to now where he's at now, like communicating in full sentences, have a conversation with him, like, man, I really miss those times. And I know it only gets worse from that point. So I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I make the best of this situation. Yeah, money, again, it comes and goes, but these times, once they go, they go. So I'm like, I really am trying to focus and be conscious about that. Yeah.
Usually in life, when you're struggling or you're stressed out, it's because you're thinking of something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird to me that you think about the past, which has already happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you think of the future, which hasn't happened, right?
Yeah.
Or, things that aren't even like of importance.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think about the present. Now, I'm not perfect doing this. These are things that I'm like looking at that I need to improve on,
Mm-hmm.
but I seem to be more calm when I'm thinking about where I'm at today.
I agree. And I'm always a person, same thing. I want to make sure I set myself up. I'm not more on like short term. I know a lot of people want to make quick money. I don't care about making quick money.
There's no such thing as quick money.
Yeah, see, and for me, it's always been told, hey, you need to do this, so you can make money.
So what's smarter? For me to buy a stock at 100 and sell it for 150, or I buy a stock at $100 and then 25 years later that's split 3 times, it's got a 4% dividend and just compounded, right?
Yes,
and I paid short-term capital gains. I could pay long-term capital gains, and I can take that money, and when I get a loan to buy a house with you, I have 6 months reserves. Right?
Yeah.
Think about, I treat retirements as a retirement, but use it as a vehicle to do deals. 'Cause anytime you do a deal, bank wants to know you have reserves, and they can use your retirement, but you're not taking the money out of retirement, right? You got to think big, okay? Don't think narrow. Very important.
I mean, that's some fantastic advice, man. I mean, obviously, to me, once you hear something, and I like to anybody that I'm going to receive criticism from, I know you have to be at a place where you can receive it. Because you can talk all day long, you can have all the mentors in the world, but if you're not taking the advice that they're giving you, I mean, it's all for naught, and you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
But I always feel like you have to get there to a point. But if I have to respect somebody for me to be able to take advice, and that probably won't ever change for me. I have to be able to respect you, to accept criticism from you, to then put the advice to work that you've given me.
Yeah.
And I think, again, 2023 was just a big year for me, to where I was like, okay, this is it. There's no reason for DJ to be sitting here telling me the same thing that I've heard from another guy who has no reason to hate or push me towards something that's like negative for myself.
Yeah.
And
you weren't focused at the time, right? And I just got to know who you were as a person, and I just love to like give you my opinion. You can take it for what it's worth. And when you were thinking about being the best agent in Florida, it's casting this wide net. I'm like, why don't you be the best agent in your market? And then that's what you're doing. Right? You focused, you make little adjustments, and you're taking market share. All those things are important because, we all make mistakes, but it's like, it's just another click on the dial, right? Make an adjustment, make an adjustment.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for me, it was kind of confusing, right? Because I was at a fresh point of like, you're not thinking big enough. So I've always been hearing like, you got to think bigger, think bigger, think bigger. And to me, I'm like, okay, well, what's bigger than becoming, like, ultimately my goal is to be the best at what I'm doing. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I could be good at this market, but if I think that I'm going towards being the best agent in Florida, that'll give me the drive enough to conquer the market, which obviously proved to be the opposite. Like, you got to focus on small. I mean, bigger goal, right? But work.
Like I want 5 new clients this week, right? I want to make 25 phone calls today. You want wins. You want to stack the wins. Make your goals small and achieve them. Because like if you crash that, I want to be the best agent in Florida. How do you meet that goal? Right?
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with.
I want to come home at 5 o'clock today. Whatever that may be. It can be simple.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, obviously, I made those necessary adjustments because I'm like, well, I was doing what I'm working.
That's a testament to you. That's called leadership, man. I mean, that's your growth.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations on that.
Well, I appreciate that because that definitely helped the trajectory where I was going. I felt like I was imploding.
Yeah.
But okay, so we talked about family, right? And obviously in that it includes legacy. Like, you're building a family. At the end of the day, what legacy do you want your kids, your team, your businesses, the region that you're in now? You're in Florida, in our region. What do you want them to say that you built beyond the homes and renovation and the real estate project?
Yeah.
What do you want?
So I've always owned multiple companies, and I will going forward. So, you know, I this is transactional.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make a large sum of money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not for me. I want to give it away. I love giving money away. I do it all the time. So I feel like if I have the skill sets that God gave me, it's my responsibility to do it. And if I can pour into whatever that may be, you know, donating to the church, donating to another cause that might help people, whatever that cause may be. And then hope I develop people, right? Because if I can make all the money in the world and at the end, where's it go? But I can tell you what, developing other people, your legacy is going to grow. You know, like you said, hey, thanks for giving me that advice. That means more to me than money. You know, maybe one of my staff members might like buy my company, right? I mean, I don't know. I just like, I want to make sure that whoever works for me, I know their goals. I want to be able to get them there. And I want to make sure that, you know, that I change their life, their dynamic, their family atmosphere. If I can pour into somebody who maybe that make, you know, like 30 years old, not looking for marriage. Marriage is the best thing in the world. I love stability. You know, anything I can do, just give you a little bit of ounce of wisdom. If they take it, that's great. I'm just trying to plant seeds. And I hope that some of those seeds grow.
I feel like that's the same exact concept of what Jesus came and did.
Yeah.
Right? He came, created the disciples. I hear a lot about that. And this is why I'm so big on faith, because to me, it kind of translates to business really smoothly. It's like creating and making people better than you are. And that's what Jesus did. Came down, created a bunch of disciples, and then sent them out to do the work in the world. And look at to where we are now because of it.
You know, my dad actually gave me like one of the best pieces of advice. I called him up one time and I was like doubting myself. Listen, we all have battles every day. We're not all winners. You know, we all going to have the devil in our mind saying we can't do it. And I asked my dad, I go, Dad, you know, I went as far as I could in New York. I never understood why I couldn't go farther. And he goes, because sometimes, you know, you remember when Jesus went and discipled, you know, he said that, you know, people would say, you know, he's spreading miracles, he's preaching the word, you know, this is Jesus. And then he went back to his village and they said, aren't you just Joseph's son? Aren't you just the carpenter? Right? They thought of him as just the carpenter. That's his village. That's where he's from. So by me coming to Florida, right, gave me the ability to become who I'm supposed to be. So even though I gave up the income, things didn't go the way I expected, and I capped. If you want something, you got to give up something, right? And that's why I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to see what impact I'm going to make.
Oh, man, I'm sure it's going to be something crazy, man. Well, speaking of that, then, I want to kind of pivot a little bit. What made you decide to come down to Florida? I know you probably looked at other places, right? When you decided, okay, well, you want to leave New York. Did you already know I want to specifically come to Florida? What was your decision, like the reason for you coming down?
I mean, can we get a little bit of politics here?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want the government in my home. Okay. So when COVID hit, you know, nobody wanted to work. At that point in time, you know, my staff members would probably get 5 people in a truck, hope they got COVID, because then they get paid for 2 weeks for not coming to work. But then I go see them at Walmart doing self-checkout, touching the door handles. I'm like, what is that, man? I'm paying you 2 weeks. If you can go shop, you can go work. Right? So my staff wouldn't wear a mask. I get bad reviews. New York made me feel like they put my income in jeopardy, you know? I'd have like Christmas, and they said if more than 5 people, the cops will get called. Right? That's
like, what do you mean? Like
they'd say in the news, now more than 5 people are allowed at your house.
What?
Or the Department of Health will come.
I didn't know that was happening.
Or the Department of Health will come. And it made me feel like that I was going to go to jail. Now, hindsight looking, no one's really policing it unless your neighbor called, which it happened. It got to the point where, like, if you want a shot for your child, I don't care if it's a flu shot, whatever shot that is, that's between you and your family. I would never tell you what to do, okay? But I can tell you I want to do what's best for my family. And there was actually legislation on the floor in the Senate in New York that if my child went to school, that the nurse could give the COVID shot to my son without my permission.
Whoa.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm ready to go. And I was, and that's funny because, like, even though I had the money and I had like everything set to retire, I lost money. Now I made money, right? I left money on the table because I was ready to move to a state that's business friendly. I have freedom, and there was more opportunity. So I see I'm a political refugee from New York.
Man. So now I see, I mean, obviously being in real estate, I I see a lot of people coming from specifically New York,
Yeah.
Chicago, and they're moving down here. But specifically, people coming from New York are saying they left a lot because of that.
Yeah.
I never heard the thing about like they could force give your kid the vaccine. That's insane.
Now that was never passed.
Mhm.
That was in conversation, but they also gave ventilators to people, and that killed them. Right?
Mhm.
Thousands of people died by the wrong policies.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to like at that moment. I never understood how. Is this too political for you?
No, man. Hey, listen. We talk about like if you look at this sign
Yeah.
here, it says we have the conversations like
Okay.
Anything is a go for me.
So listen, I ask questions. My grandfather said no one likes people ask questions.
Mhm.
So this was my question: how could I stand in line at a restaurant and have a mask on, and then I sit at a table and I can take it off?
Oh yeah, because you're eating. You have to take the mask off.
And everybody's 5 feet apart.
Mhm.
And I'm like, doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
Why? Well, I could get to sitting here. I didn't understand that. And I'll tell you what the aha moment for me was. I came down here to visit because I have a house in the Keys, and I went in a restaurant. I had my mask on, and nobody had masks on.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Where are you guys from?" I go, "I'm from New York." She goes, "I can tell." She goes, "Listen." She goes, "There is nothing that sunshine and sand can't cure here. You can take your mask off." And I'm watching sports. I had season tickets to the Syracuse Orangemen, basketball and football.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even go to the games unless I had a COVID test 24 hours before. How does that work?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I heard in
Well,
New York.
hold on. So then I'm looking on the news, I'm watching ESPN, Florida State, Florida, everybody, no one's wearing masks. What is going on?
But in New York, they was requiring you guys to walk around with cards, with vaccination cards?
I believe so, yes. So my wife had to get vaccinated or she'd get fired from her job. That's another thing. There was a lot of police officers. Well, think about this. Nursing and doctors are in short supply in Western New York because they wouldn't get the COVID shot. They get fired. Now, my question is, okay, now you're even more understaffed. How many people died because they didn't have the care? Because there's no staff. This whole thing, we're going to look back and there's going to be history books written about it. And again, I'm not against anybody getting a shot. You do you. I'll do me. But I just want to ask questions. Could things have been done better? But what I can say is the policies in New York is something I can't let my kids grow up in. I moved because of them.
Wow,
Give them a better life.
I mean, I'm sure. So the difference between here in New York, or anybody I've also spoken with, have said like they much prefer here because of the weather. Now I know there's a large like a large amount of people are actually coming from the northern states. They come here and then a year or 2 years later leaving because it's too hot down here. Has it been a huge like drastic difference for you for getting accustomed to the heat down here? Because
I think it's more than that. I just think that COVID was a bad time. Like my son was in kindergarten and couldn't even talk to the kids. Right? They couldn't take his mask off, and we homeschooled the kids for 2 years. Right? So once those policies and everything got back to normal, right? A lot of people came down here and said, okay, it's getting unaffordable. Insurance is going up. We had 3 hurricanes. It's expensive here. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
And they're ready to go back, and back where their home is back to normal, right? It's a little less expensive in Western New York. We don't have the hurricanes. Same in areas outside of Chicago or Midwest. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think for one person that moves to Florida, I think one person is leaving to go back. And we got to talk about AI. Okay, AI is taking over middle management jobs. All that remote work, computer programmers, code. I mean, AI can do that.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a lot of people that can't work remote because people want them back in the companies want them back in the office. They're moving. So
I honestly I don't see how people are able to do that. Obviously, it's just my opinion, but working from home, and I did that when COVID happened. I worked in a pretty big insurance company down in Sarasota.
Yeah,
they like shut down for a year. Was home for a year. It drove me crazy.
Right.
Like I was like, I'm a person I can't sit behind a desk, which is another reason why I started getting depressed and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a sit at a desk all day type of person. Like I need to be able to go out in the field and do things. But I think I don't see how people want that. I mean, I see in a way they're saying like, well, hey, all the stuff we're doing at the office, we can kind of do that at home. But the level of work is different. You're not able to do the level of work versus when you're in the office versus when you're at home. You got too many distractions there. So I've been able to see the quality of stuff kind of go down. I'm like, well, as a business owner, I need you to be where you're going to be able to focus on what you're doing. And then when you can leave,
not
you
on
there.
TikTok or Facebook Reels or YouTube.
Right? Or you seen even Kevin O'Leary, right? Started like he does his things where he just has a top portion. Like he'll have a suit on and then he's walking around in gym shorts or underwear.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you know what? I mean, I can say as a business owner, you're looking to grow a company or worried about your margins and like, well, the level of risk for people, right, being at home and the quality of work that they're doing is not going to be the same versus when they're in the office.
Absolutely.
Which is why I was like, when it first happened, I'm like, hey, well, they're probably going to save a whole bunch of money on like the building and the cost of operating the building and all the employees there. But I see why now they're just like, okay, well, I'd rather have all that cost, but you're there because the work is being done right.
Yeah. So, I mean, all this stuff makes me think about investing, right? And if you want to make a lot of money, look at 2008 and 9 when that crashed, you could have bought. Look at COVID, could have bought. Look when the tariffs hit, you could have bought stocks, right? Never bet against America. Never bet against America, right? Next time there's something else that happens, whatever that may be, I'm buying stocks.
Yeah.
And I'm buying houses too. You know, so just don't bet against America because you're going to lose every time until I'm proven wrong.
But that's the thing. I don't think you will be proven wrong because whenever people think it's a bad time to buy, it's usually the time you should be buying something, whether it may be stocks or houses.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, look, we're in a buyer's market. I mean, it's in the name. It's in the name of the term. Like, why are you not buying? If you're an investor, right? I know a lot of times, like rates, for example, they're being at 7%. I'm like, okay, why are you worried about the rates if you're looking to buy a house to live in for the next 10 years? I'm like, you can refinance your house.
As long as it fits, you can afford it.
Yeah. As long as the affordability is there.
Yeah.
Right. And the term marry the house, date the rate, I think it could be used incorrectly as well. But I feel like right now we're in a buyer's market where there's plenty of inventory. You're going to get the best prices, the best incentives that you can get at the time. Why are you worried about the interest rate as long as you can afford the payment?
Yeah. Let me explain that from an investor's perspective. Okay. So let's just say I got a family and want a home. Okay. So I'm going to look at it like this. Okay. So the home is $400,000. The rate's 7%. Okay. So I buy the house. Now I got a fixed rate. I know it's not going to go above 7. I know it's not going to below 7. I know what my costs are. And I want to own a home for my family. Okay. Let's say rates go down. Even better. Now I can go finance. Now we don't know when that is. That's where I have a problem. People say refinance next year and date the rate. I got a problem with that. But historically speaking, I believe rates will go down. I have no idea when it's going to be.
And nobody
now
knows.
your payment goes down and probably your house equity went up. Right? Because as soon as rates go down to, if it ever goes down to 3s, we're going to have another inflation event.
I don't think that's healthy.
No, it's not healthy. And let's just say it did. Your next landlord is going to be BlackRock and
yeah. They have all the money
Blackstone,
to buy up everything pretty much. Yeah.
So
Well, I think rates right where we want them to probably go down to is probably like somewhere in the 5s, like low 5s to mid 5s. That'll create a healthy environment for people to kind of, and I'm sure it will create a flux of people. If it hits the 5s, there's going to be a whole bunch of people jumping right back in the market to try to buy a bunch of stuff. But I think that's a healthy amount because I think you're right. If it gets to the 3s, it's not going to be a healthy economy because we're going to end up probably in a worse situation than we're in COVID.
And if you have a customer that, is okay with a resale and is not super picky, I mean, my strategy is this: find a house that was bought 2020 or earlier. They overpriced it and they've got probably 400, 500, 600 grand in equity, maybe 300 grand, where that number is, and depending on the price point, pick 10 of them out. Just make offers, make them low because you're going to get it below market value. Those people want to move. You're going to be the only offer, right?
Yep.
And I don't really feel bad for somebody that's walking away with 200 grand.
Yeah.
That's all fake money. Right? It's all equity, right? But if you're patient enough and you can find them 10 homes and make 10 offers,
why not?
You're going to have a super deal.
Throw it out
That's
there
the
and see what
opportunity.
happens to you. Yeah,
And if they say it's too low, say, well, I'm the only offer here. You're lucky.
So, I mean, give people a reason. You got to, hey, you don't
and
know what's going to happen if you don't
may
have.
solve their problem too. Because they want to leave.
And you just never know. I want to touch on one more topic, and that's basic advice to the next generation, right? Like, imagine yourself at 10 and what you had to go through and where you are now. what advice would you give to a kid who might not have the courage, I guess, to do what you did when you just, okay, I'm gonna go out and do this. You said you sacrificed a lot. What advice would you be able to give them to be able to work up the courage to do what you did and take that leap of faith?
Yeah. So anything in life, if it's stressful and painful, that's growing. So when you're younger, everything's going to feel uncomfortable. But if you want to make money, learn how to communicate. Learn how to do public speaking. Learn how to communicate with people. And I don't care what AI does. You can do any video you want, but there's no substitute for sit next to somebody and get to know who you are.
Yeah.
Right, and have a conversation. And if you're a great communicator, you're probably going to be a great business owner if that's what you want. You're going to be a great staff member.
Yeah, manager, staff.
Right, no matter, right? Communication goes a long way. So I guess my best advice would be learn how to communicate. And this is one I struggle with is learn how to listen, right? Don't over talk or talk too much. You meet somebody, just listen and ask questions. Just like I told you about my wife. She taught me how to communicate. She had a bad day at work and she's like, I just want you to listen and hear about my day. I said, perfect. She goes, can you put your phone down? I go, yeah. So I wasn't paying attention. I put my phone down. So she's telling me about how rough her day was. And she's like, are you listening? I said, you asked me to listen. I'm listening. She goes, oh, ask questions too. I said, okay, well, listen, ask questions. If that's what you want, that's fine. So I listen, then I ask questions. So what's the difference between doing that in a relationship and doing that in business, right? Pay attention, listen, and ask questions. Because let's face it, as in relationship as men, we're not always the best communicators, and we don't really pay attention all the time.
I mean, I just told you that.
If we ask a question, they know we're paying attention.
Yeah. And that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, as you're saying that, I'm like, well, you can't ask questions if you're not listening. That must be why she told you those sequences. Like, well, I want you to ask questions because that means I know.
Because I'm looking at real estate, right? I'm not supposed to. But listen, I'm working on that. Not perfect, but at least I recognize it.
Yeah, and willing to do it. Yeah, at least you're listening. I mean, I think a part of communication for sure, you have to listen. And a lot of people try to invalidate feelings. Like, hey, man, this is me. If I'm telling you this is how I like to be communicated with, you should respect that enough to where you should do it. Like, I like to be communicated this way. We all have different methods of how we like to be communicated with. Like me, for example, direct to the point. I like details. I would give me as much details as you can when you're communicating with me, and I'm perfectly fine. Because then it makes me feel like I have enough information to make a decision. Yeah. So I mean, I agree. So,
but don't over talk either. Like for example, like with a client, you could have the deal, you could have the listing, you could talk too much. Yeah. Right. I keep it simple sometimes. The price is 20 grand. Okay, Mrs. Smith, if I can do the job for 20 grand and I can give you great service, can we sign up today? Sure. Okay, let's go. I'm not going to over talk it.
Yeah. I think I've done that a couple of times to where like giving too much information can be a bad thing.
Because sometimes you want to justify because you're unconfident. You want to tell everybody how great you are.
And people can see
right?
Sometimes
the more confident you are and you don't care as much, you get it or not, you actually get the job more often than not. You do care, but you're not desperate.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it is a lot of times.
And when you meet with somebody, knowing them in the conversation, like you can have a great time with somebody, but sometimes it goes too far.
Yeah.
I learned like, it's great meeting you. We'll talk another time, have a good day. And that conversation, don't let it go too long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a meeting, like if I meet somebody, I try to do a 1 hour hard stop. And then at the end of the meeting, I always ask them, who do I know in my network I can help you with, or how can I help you? That's a great thing to do in a networking event or just meeting somebody one-on-one. Right? Instead of trying to get something from them, ask what you can offer them.
Yeah. I mean, in the long run, right, it comes back around. I feel like value for value, especially if you're coming for like, for example, like me, I'm younger. I'm like eager to continue to grow a business. So when I'm talking to somebody who's grown multiple businesses or been where I'm trying to get to, like, well, what does this person really have to gain from me exactly? Like, so I like to at least go out and see what they need. And as far as like providing some sort of value, not that I would expect, hey, well, because I did this for you, DJ, I need you to do this for me. Yeah. I think if I provide value to people, and specifically business people, it somehow always works around because you'll always remember, well, hey, this is probably one of the few people that I spoke to that wasn't looking to get something out of me. They was providing me with some sort of value. At least stick in your mind to where when you have something that's available and you need help with something, I'll be the person you're probably going to reach out to. I'm going to help you out.
Well, I'm still a little bit transactional too. Like, I'm here to help you any way I can, but I think to myself, maybe there's a deal we'll do down the road, right? Maybe not. If it doesn't, great. We can still be friends and still network with each other.
Yeah.
But like I like to have long-term relationships. And when I really know who you are, that's sometimes when the business opportunities happen.
Mm-hmm.
I know your heart. I know your personality. I know everything about you.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes business way more comfortable.
That's why I like to start with like knowing people first. And now this, I don't want to go into business with like friends anymore. I've just been burnt too much by
Yeah.
it. But I do like to develop friendships with business owners because it's just so much easier, man, when you're doing business with people you know already, because you know what to expect from them. So
Yeah.
it's like you're not always gonna be having to. Well, what if he doesn't do this? What if? Well, I know DJ's personality is like this, so he's gonna
Yeah.
say what he means when he tells me he's doing something. I can rely on him to keep his word to me. So I always prefer to develop a relationship and then hopefully business come from that. But
Yeah.
it's never a bad thing to have friends either. I mean, shoot, we
No.
can never do a deal together, but at least
You could bring
the
families together and
relationship's good.
hang out and start
Yeah.
a business, right?
Yeah, and that's just as good as value as anything else to
Yeah.
me. So, all right, so a little hard switch, right? So I know you're a sports guy. You love sports too. I wanted to talk about like basketball, for example. There's a huge thing going on pretty much since LeBron James has been playing, comparing him and Michael Jordan. So if I asked you to give me your top 5 greatest basketball, the GOATs of basketball, who would be on your top 5 greatest players of all time? And based on, right, of course, their body of work, what they've done in basketball, and not really anything outside of like basketball.
So when I look at it, at a team, I want leadership and I want like tenacity and grit.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if at a point guard, 6'9" Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Guy can run the floor, big bodied, handle the ball. And then I look at like personality, like I'm not going to let you win. I'll die trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Kobe Bryant and that's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And they might as well be brothers,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that'd be Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and then LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's big
Mm-hmm.
and he's proven himself. He's one of the greats. And then I just love Shaq.
Jack.
I mean, I like his personality. I like how big he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would just dominate.
Yeah.
I don't care what era.
Shaq is one of my guys, man.
Yeah.
And obviously, to me, he's like the most dominating player ever. Because
Yeah.
you just couldn't really ever stop him. He's just way bigger than and aggressive. Everything. He's like, you don't
Yeah.
expect somebody that big to move like
No.
he did when he was playing. Yeah, but that was before then he got fat.
I mean,
And then like Kobe talks about that all the time when he was alive, man. It's like I really wonder, like maybe if he would have kept and had the mentality that Kobe Bryant had, how many more championships they probably would have won together.
I mean, just
Good.
look at like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Look what Michael Jordan did in business, past basketball. Kobe was heading that direction, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's sad that we didn't get to see what he was, capable of. But
Yeah. Sad day.
it's we're lucky to at least have him and see
Mhm.
who he was.
Yeah, and so when Kobe unfortunately passed away that day, and I've always been like a LeBron James person, man. Like
Yeah.
I've always supported him just because I'm a huge underdog person.
Yeah,
And when I feel like somebody's like not being given the credit that they're due, it just kind of makes me want to stand behind them even harder.
yeah,
But when Kobe passed away, obviously I always acknowledge the man is just one of the best players to ever play basketball. But like I didn't think it would affect me like it did. Like it had
Yeah.
me really down.
I
And I
cried.
think everybody was like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, man, now that's an effect. That dude lived his right good enough to where like no matter what, if you were a fan of him or not, it affected you. Everybody I spoke to was like either cried or
Yeah.
was like it had me really out and down. But outside of basketball though, it was he lost his daughter too, in the way that
Yes,
that really like hurt me.
yep.
But I'm like, man, I want to be able to leave a legacy that touches people like that. Where when I die, it affects people in a way to where like I've done something positive in my life and I was able to affect other people. So yeah, man,
That's what like giving money away, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say who I gave to or what I did, but like when you give something to somebody and it changes their day or made it, better, that's like I feel better giving them the money than probably when they received it and used it, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's what it's about, right? I mean, you gotta like give back.
Yeah, I just think it goes right back to purpose. Like I think for me, for example, God has given me a purpose, and once you like are able to stop and listen and follow the purpose, like how could you refuse word from your creator? It's like you work, you have the capability of like working and going to develop yourself and do things. And for example, my thing is to be like a pillar for not only my family, but for my community, my church. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to affect these things. That's the purpose that the Lord has given me. I'm like, how can you say no? Because whenever I've tried to deviate away from these things, life has just been very miserable for me, regardless of how much money I was making. So I'm like, purpose is a huge thing. And I think once everybody can like find it, it's just, life is just a lot easier, even though you're probably working as hard, like harder than you probably ever been. But it's like, it's easier. You get to wake up and you're not facing the depression and all that stuff because you're working and going in the flow of things. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, okay. So then football.
Yeah.
What would be your top, and you have to do it by position. Like,
Right.
What is the top 2 players per position?
All right. So for quarterback, definitely Tom Brady. And I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Man, I'm like,
yeah, I got
he's there, man. He's there now.
Running back, Barry Sanders left early.
Mhm.
He could have been the all-time rushing leader.
Yeah,
he left
yeah.
early, right? And I like Bo Jackson
Mhm.
because if he dedicated himself to the sport, guy who ran a 4.2,
Mhm.
the freight train, he would have been one of the greats. So I know he's not one of the greats, but I'm putting him in there. He's one of my greats.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, ask Deion Sanders. There's a video of him. Bo Jackson was running, and Deion Sanders came across, and he gave him a stiff arm.
Mhm.
That Bo's the only one who did that.
Yeah.
So you know, receivers. You know, I mean, Jerry Rice. Man, I don't know, like Randy Moss.
There's a ton of receivers.
I mean, I can go. There's so many of them.
Mhm.
Even like tight ends. I like man, Rob Gronkowski.
Rob, yeah, body of work.
He's got a great personality.
What about the Kansas City Chiefs tight end? Kelsey. Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
I like Rob's personality better. If I was gonna go have a drink with somebody or hang out, I'm hanging out with Rob Gronkowski.
Rob.
So
Nah, he's hilarious, man.
yeah.
Did you see that roast that they did, the Tom Brady roast?
Oh yes.
Man, that was hilarious.
Yes, it was.
They was on him. I wonder if he's really dumb though. Like, everybody makes him seem like he's just a dumb jock.
Oh, he's not dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like.
I mean, look at his business ventures and his personality. He's clean. Like, he's just like, he's a competitor. He's no different than Jordan, right?
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
competitive. But he was the underdog.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know too much of his background.
He got drafted like 6th round or something like that.
By the Patriots though, right?
Yeah, watch his workout videos. He runs. He looks like a string bean. You know.
Oh man.
So
yeah, he's funny. Anytime I've ever seen him, it's being funny. I'm like, well, I really wonder, like, because the stuff you see on social media is like personas. I'm like, man,
yeah.
I guarantee most of the people that you see, they're not what you see on like TV and social media.
I think Baker Mayfield is. I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
I mean, if you look at his journey, like, he's always been an underdog.
Yeah.
So I like that.
That's what made me like really follow Russell Wilson before he got drafted to the Seahawks. I love watching football, so I don't actually like to say I like this team. Yeah, but I'm also not a flip flopper. So like once I get a team, I'm sticking with it, except for basketball.
Okay,
so I'm gonna go where LeBron is.
Okay,
but I usually I followed his story, and they were saying, you know, he's short and this and that, and I mean, look at the work that he's done. It's been crazy. And now of course you're hearing things. I've been hearing a lot of crazy things about him in the locker room, like.
Well, you got to keep in mind too, like, now we have social media. What would Jordan or any of those guys been like with social media then, right?
Yeah.
So it could have been a different perception.
Yeah. It is. We weren't as involved. There wasn't cameras all around all the time like it is now. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I mean, so I guess my last question is, right, I think I might have asked this already, but like, when it's all said and done and you're at the end of your time here on Earth, what do you want to be remembered about you? Like, just a generalized question. Yeah.
You know, I hope that I gave grace and I showed love, and I was very, you know, I donated money to people and causes, and I was very generous. I hope that I poured into people, and I left a great legacy for someone to expand not only their career and business, but family life. You know, I mean, we always think about business, but what about someone's journey with God, and or someone's journey with their wife? Maybe they're having a rough time, they want to split up, but you were able to have a conversation and keep that family together.
Yeah.
I just hope that I make an impact, you know. And I'm not remembered for business. I'm remembered for who I was as a person.
Yeah, right.
And I want no regrets. So hopefully that I do everything that I ever set my mind to, and at the end I can say there's not one thing I left on the field. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
So
no, that's great. I mean, for me, it's all about the legacy, what you create and leave behind, and it's not money. It's not money. I want to be remembered again for making a difference in the world, like a positive impact, like Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe left a great impact on the world.
Yeah, he did.
All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate the time that you've taken to
Yeah.
actually sit and interview with us. This
Appreciate
was a
it.
fantastic
Yeah.
conversation. I hope those that are watching, you guys are able to get as much out of this interview as I did. We are all of us that are in business, whether you're looking to also climb a corporate ladder, we all are on a different part of our journeys, but we can always learn from one another. And that's just what having this platform provides. It's like whether you're super successful on your way to be super successful, you're just starting off, you can learn from your predecessors. And we have the conversations, right? Because it's all about the person at the end of the day. We have the conversations that people typically stay away from. I don't care what it is. I want you to know me for who I am, and I'm going to stand on my beliefs regardless. So I'm more than okay vocalizing what I stand for and what I believe in. And the people that I connect with is who I connect with. Again, guys, look, comment and subscribe what you took most out of this interview. And reach out to us via social media and tell me what you guys want to see, who you want me to interview, what you would like to get out of these videos. And again, we're more than happy to accommodate for the viewers. And again, guys, we really thank you for being a part of our mixed reality. See you next interview.